concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Livestream. It is Sunday afternoon, and it is time to... Oh, there you go. It's time to stream. Time to do some Q&A. You're going to be asking questions. I'm going to be answering them, and we're just going to hang out for a couple hours and chat. Oh, there we go. Okay. But first... No. I know you guys love the ASMR, the FPV ASMR, the slurping. See, there's a silent slurp. Hope y'all are doing very, very well. Bloods FPV, very nice to see you. Crunked, very nice to see you in the chat. Bloods FPV, the owner, the creator of Halo RC. And the Halo RC Osiris frame. Big fan of that. Crunked wants to know what he should get for lunch. That's not the kind of questions we answer here, my friend. We answer questions and discuss FPV, mostly until I go off on a random tangent about who knows what. But, Recursive FPV, good to see you. Eric Bailey, oh, good question. TBS Tracer or Ghost? The beauty of this question is that it's entirely subjective and just gives me the opportunity to just talk for 10 minutes, and no one can tell me I'm wrong. I love that. I love it. That's the best live streaming fodder. Tracer or Ghost? Well, I put Ghost in my perfect freestyle build, which I posted on my channel this week. I put Ghost in it, and obviously I have Tracer quads, I have Crossfire quads, I have Ghost quads, I have Express LRS even in one quad. Yes, it's true. But I put Ghost in my perfect freestyle build. Ghost is the one I'm sort of most dipping my toes in that water right this minute, let's say. And what has got me interested in it is that it has the ability to do kind of anything you would want. So if you want sort of long range at normal good latency, you can use Ghost's normal mode, and it'll go tens of kilometers more than you really should ever need. You can put it into race mode or pure race mode, or even race 250, which is the same modulation that Tracer uses. So Ghost kind of lets you do whatever you want, whereas like Tracer only does one thing. Now, there's certainly a counter argument that if the thing Tracer does is the thing you want, if it meets your needs, then why do you care about all those other options? And that's the argument that TBS would make. But the thing about Ghost, the Ghost also has some cool VTX integration, where you hook the video transmitter straight to the receiver, and it does things like you set the video transmitter settings in your Ghost module instead of using Betaflight. There are some pros and cons to that. And of course, I've got a video about that on my channel. Crossfire and Tracer have something similar, but it's missing a couple of the features. The big downside of the Ghost VTX integration, and I first explored the Ghost VTX integration when I was building my race rig, and it uses the Ghost Hybrid, which is a combined VTX and Ghost together. And they're like, oh, it works really well. As soon as I built my freestyle rig, I realized, Ghost Hybrid or the TBS, the Immersion RC Tramp, they output, I think, 600 milliwatts is their max power. For a freestyle rig, I would like more, 800 or a watt, or like, and then when I built the analog version of my perfect freestyle build, I used the Rush Tank Solo, which is like 1.6 watts, they say. And so the downside of Ghost and its VTX integration is that it only works with the Tramp protocol, which sure, of course. Why would Immersion RC support smart audio? Trappy would have an aneurysm. And there are very, very few third-party VTXs that support Tramp protocol. So if you like that VTX integration, you might be better going with Crossfire or Tracer, even though they're missing some of the things that Ghost does, especially the team race features, which granted I don't use those very much. They're going to be compatible with a lot more VTXs, or you just wire it up to your flight controller like you always did. So, anyway, I'm playing with Ghost right now. I'm playing with Ghost right now. We'll see how it goes. I'll try a little bit of everything. The big question is, what's in stock? Can you find it in stock? Then that's what you should get. Yeah. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. That's what we're going to do. We are going to just take questions. We're going to be taking questions. Here is my big main screen, just for your perspective. We're going to be, hang on, you'll get your chance, Discord. I'm going to be taking your questions here in the chat. And if you want to, as you can see, these questions are going by fast and furious. Thank you to everybody in the chat who answers questions. It's a collaborative community. IDKFPV is listening to this in the shower. Nice. It's a collaborative community. Everybody helps. If I don't get your message, it would be fantastic if somebody else gets it. But if you want to make sure I get your message, hit the $ right down here. Leave a super chat like these beautiful people. Recursive FPV, thank you for a $2 super chat. Did I just waste $2 by sending it 25 minutes early? Apparently not. Mark T, thanks for a $10 super chat. Big super chat. Thank you so much. Thanks for helping me out and answering my emails. Any thoughts on Mr. Steele's motors? We'll get that in just a second. So you can hit that $ and leave a super chat if you like, and I'll read that on the stream. And in addition, let's just take a look at the other side of my screen where these beautiful people are my patrons. Over in my Discord server, people say, how do you get an invite to Bardwell's Discord server? The answer is you use that link down in the video description to join my Patreon as little as $2 a month or more if you feel like I earned it. That's what I like to say. Just imagine me like a busker on the subway platform, but instead of playing music, I'm giving you advice about your quadcopters, and I got a little hat out in front of me, and Patreon's an easy way for you to throw a couple bucks in that hat. And, you know, you get to be on my Discord server, among other things. Anyway, let's go back to this question from Mark T. Thoughts on Steele's motors. Let's take a look. Let's look at the silk motors, I think. You want to do the silks? Or you want to do the stouts? I think the silks are... This is for 4S. The stouts are for 6S. Let's look at the stouts then. Steel Stout. That's a beer, right? Doesn't that sound like a good beer? Mr. Steel Stout. I would drink me some of that. Now it sounds weird. Ooh, Mr. Steel Stout. I would drink me up a good... I apologize for that, for that character. I don't know what happened there. That went right off the rails. Here's the thing. It's a 2306. It's 1700 kV, right? What is it? 1700 kV. So the question you got to ask is, how does this compare to any other 1700 kV 2306 out there? And it's a very, very challenging category to be in because this is such a popular category. So what makes this stand out? Well, the weight is under 30 grams. It's 29 grams. That is a very lightweight 2306 motor. In fact, that's with the full length of wire and with the plastic motor pants, which many people could take off. So theoretically, you could get this down to like 28 grams. People are telling me that's not the new V4. All right, let's find the new V4. The V4, here's the Stout V3. Let's try to find the Stout V4. The new motors are about 1 gram heavier. Oh, no. Oh, sexy. This is brand new, isn't it? Special edition, limited to 1,000 pieces. Get them while you can. I'm not sure we shouldn't do the V3 if this is like a weird special edition. Let's do the V3. Let's do the V3, which is in stock and not a special edition. It's more, let's say it's more representative. This is 1750 kV. 1750 kV is a great kV for 6S. It's lower kV than some would choose. It is more, I mean, it is roughly, it's about 2500 kV and 4S equivalents. So it's nominally a little higher than, like, 2400 to 2450 kV is the normal 4S kV. That's just like the baseline, if you will. So this is nominally a little higher kV, but for some reason in 6S, the kV seems to run a little higher. People seem to do okay with higher kV. So 1750 kV is, I mean, if you were like a racer or a freestyle pilot who wanted the most punch and power, you would be up around 1900 kV, or maybe even, I think Vanover's motors, there's somebody who has like a 21, it's Minchan, that's it. Minchan's motor is 2100 kV, which is nominally a 5S kV, but I'm going to guess he runs it on 6S and just has ridiculous speed. So 1750 kV is in the mid-range. It's great freestyle kV. You're not going to have quite as much top-end power, but you're going to have plenty of resolution and control. And of course, we know that that's what Mr. Steele goes for. But if we look down at the features of the motor, 9mm ball bearing up from 7mm. That's weird. 9x4x4 is the standard bearing size for a 2306 motor. I'm shocked that they were using a 7mm bearing. I mean, that's You're meeting the baseline there. So that's good. New bell design, yada, yada. I'm not that convinced. I don't really have a lot to say about that. I'm not sure I would be bragging that I used to use a 7mm bearing on my motor. Doesn't make, that's not good. Let's see here. Is it just the red one that's limited edition? How's the weight? 29 grams, 6S. So, like, we're missing a lot of information here. And, like, for example, and the chat will know. Tell me in the chat. What's the, is it a titanium motor shaft? Right? What bearing? It's a 9x4 bearing. Is it a high-quality Japanese bearing like NSK bearing? What alloy is the steel? Is it the 70-75 or the 60 alloy? Whatever, the 60-60, is it 60-65? 70-72? 70-75? There's the 7000 series aluminum and the 6000 series aluminum that are commonly used. 7000 series is harder and more durable and more expensive. There's a lot of specs missing from these motors. Let's see if we can find the V4. Apparently only the red one. Apparently only the red one is limited edition. Stats are on the TBS site. Let's see. I am coming to a conclusion here, by the way. Stout V4. Oh, sorry. Yep. Okay. Stout V4. Maybe take ethics off. Shoot. I'm sorry, guys. I banged my... What did I do? Uh-oh. I just bumped my Stream Deck and changed scene. I hope I didn't screw anything else up. Am I still streaming? Yes, okay. This is the... I see. The launch edition is the red. But it is available as a non-standard edition. Dang it. There we go. So let's look at the specs for this one. Oh, thank God. They finally went to 16x16. Structural changes for more durability. Steel's motors were 19x19 spacing, and the only frame they fit was the apex. And it's like, why would you do that? What possible benefit is there? Is it more durable? I sincerely doubt it. So thank God they finally use the same 16x16 mounting that everybody else uses. Go on to single strand copper winding. 9mm steel bearings. Notice it. I want to know what bearing it is. Is it a high quality Japanese bearing like the EZO or the NSK? Doesn't say. So presumably if it was a high quality Japanese bearing, they would say. So I'm going to guess that it isn't. Motor weight is now 32 grams with full length cables. So now we've come back up. We no longer have the ultra lightweight that it was. We're in the range of a normal 2306 motor. Here's our specs. Oh, here we go. Are we going to get the bearings? NMB 684 bearing. What is that? According to the description, 16x16 is more durable, says Ben T. Yeah, well. So why did you use 19x19 for so long? What was the argument there? I was always confused by that choice. So these are NMB bearings. These, I mean, I don't recognize this name. They're skateboard bearings. How much are they? See price. Can I see the price? No. Okay. My understanding is the best bearings are either the NSK or the EZO. I don't know NMB, so I couldn't speak to their quality. Shaft material is steel, so it's not a titanium shaft. Okay, so let's get to the point. This is a $30 motor. It is a $30 motor. Is this a better motor than the T-Motor F40 Pro? Jesus. I mean, the Founders Edition is $30. Maybe the regular one's cheaper. T-Motor F40 Pro 4. Specs on this motor. And I just picked this because it's a super expensive motor, $27. I don't even know the specs, but let's just look at them. 30.8 grams, so it's lighter by a hair. Does it have a titanium shaft? What bearing does it have? I mean, I'm getting around to a point, but I have to get this. Well, you're not going to give me the freaking information either. Yeah, there we go. Titanium shaft, silicon steel sheet, and customized silicon wire. Bearing. Tell me about the bearings. Doesn't say. All right, I'm going to stop beating around the bush and get to the point. There are motors out there in the $22 to $27 price with all of the things you could ask for out of a motor. Japanese bearings, titanium shaft, 70-75 aluminum steel, everything you could ask for in a motor. So then when you compare that to the Stout motor, which doesn't have those things and costs at the very top of the list, Cyber Zing, great choice. Cyber Zing. That's a great choice for a motor. Check this out. iFlight has always done a great job making very, very valuable motors. Very, very good value motors. 10 millimeter NSK bearing. Damping O-ring. 31 grams. I'm very suspicious of a 10 millimeter motor with 31 grams, but who knows? N50, yada. You got to ask yourself why you're buying these other motors. And for the record, and I've said this before, this is one of the reasons why I stopped making my JB motors, because they didn't stack up against other motors out there that were $5 cheaper. And for the record, the $5 was not all going in my pocket. I'm not, they didn't stack up. And I thought I wouldn't buy these motors. I would buy I would spend $22 on a Cyber Zing. Now, there are certainly other differences in a motor than, like, could you take the Cyber Zing and put it on a steel quad and would it fly the same? No. But if you just look at the spec sheet and the price of the motor, I don't see how you can argue that most people should pay the premium for the Stout motor compared to another motor, unless you specifically want to fly the exact setup that Steel flies. And here's the flip side of this. Like, I'm not trying to take the piss out of Steel. His quad flies very good, and the reason it flies very good is the totality of the setup. If you take a Steel quad and you change anything about it, it doesn't fly the same anymore. What is it about his motors that add to that formula? I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that his PID tune is tailored for his motors. Maybe you could take another you could take an iFlight 1750 kV motor, put it on his quad. Maybe, and if he PID tuned around that, it would fly just as well. The main reason to buy Steel's motors is that you're trying to emulate his exact setup. Other than that, as just a motor, I know it's the special edition red one, but the standard one is still like $26, $27, isn't it? Am I wrong about that? Hang on. Stout motor V4, $27.95. Okay, it's $28 instead of $30. It's still and the thing is, I think there are plenty of $22 to $25 motors that beat this motor on paper in a lot of ways. And then you got to ask yourself, is there some unknowable quality that this motor has that the specs don't capture? is it like that much higher quality a motor than like an iFlight Zing motor? And I don't see it. Honestly, the only $27 motor that I think is worth buying today, off the top of my head, is the FPV Cycle 5-inch. Oh, you're just saying that because it's on your perfect freestyle build. No, you got it backwards. It's on my perfect freestyle build because it's so unique and good. It's the only one that I've flown. And when they sent it to me and people said, oh, the FPV Cycle 5-inch, it's such a good motor. And I was like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. And then I flew it and I was like, oh, something going on here. Anyway, I mean, I would have this. The thing is, it's tough to talk about these things because people will interpret it as you taking shots. He is one of the most prominent FPV pilots. He has a prominent line of products. People are always asking. So they're like, hey, what do you think of that? So, I'm not going to like not talk about it. I don't want this to be seen as starting drama. I have said the same thing about other motors out there. And for the record, I used to have motors with my name on it and I stopped making them in part because of this argument. So I am literally losing money because I stand behind this argument. I'm not just taking shots at steel. I just think there's motors like the iFlight Zing, or if you want to save money, the Emax Eco 2. And compare an Emax Eco 2 on paper to the Stout. I'm not going to do that right now because I feel like we've talked about this long enough, but there we go. All right. That's what I say about all motors. Pretty much. Archimedes in the Discord says, I'm pretty sure it's about brand, bragging rights, and style, not about getting a great deal. 100% right. 100% right. I will say this. Didn't I just say we talked about this long enough? I mean, the Steel Kiss Alien flies amazing. There's something to be said for someone who just says, I want to know what it feels like to fly Steel's quad. You're not going to fly like him. I mean, you'll fly a little bit like him because some of it is his rates and his PID tune. It's an amazing flying quad. It's a great build. He's really nailed it. But taken in a vacuum, just that motor set aside against other motors that are out there, it's overpriced. It just is. If you just look at what you get. FPV cycle motors also have NMB bearings. Interesting. The big question is, are NMB like high quality bearings and I just haven't heard of them yet? That's the big question. I don't know if they are or not. Yeah. Goes Boom says somebody called out Vanover on Facebook today for his motor being the same as RCN Power. Goes Boom, that goes backwards. This always bugs me. Vanover developed that motor. And then after, RCN Power is the OEM for that motor. So shocker, Rotor Riot doesn't manufacture that motor. They OEM, and a motor manufacturer makes it. Vanover worked for months to develop that motor, flying prototype after prototype. I don't know the actual number. I'm not going to try and make up facts that I don't have. But I know for a fact he worked for months, and they would send him, 5 different sets of motors. He would fly them. He would say, well, I like this. I didn't like that. He tried single strand. He tried all these different things. And in the end, Vanover came up with a design for that motor. And then he said, okay, this is the one. And that became the Vanover motor. And then the OEM made the same motor without his name on it. And what RCN Power says they do is they do binning, that the best bells, the highest quality ones become the Vanover motors, and then the sort of lower quality ones become the RCN Power motors. But the accusation that Vanover just slapped his name on an RCN Power motor could not be more wrong. And I know it pisses him off when people say this, because it is so untrue and is really disrespectful of the work that he did to make the motor happen. It's always frustrating when an OEM does this. And kind of wish that they wouldn't. Yashas Ranjan says, in his opinion, NMB comes in under NSK in quality, but is still a decent bearing. The thing is, how good of a bearing do you need in these quads? The best bearings are going to be super smooth, but then we're going to beat the crap out of them. So the real question would be whether the bearing is strong enough to stand up to the abuse that we give them. And part of the problem is that the abuse that bearings are made for loads in sort of parallel to the direction of the bearing, and the loads we give them are usually straight down or straight up, and it really is terrible for bearings. Yeah. NMB, other people saying NMB are decent quality bearings. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Brother Hobby Avenger 2507 1850 kV, Andreas Dalsa is suggesting it as an alternative to the FPV cycle. Brother Hobby makes good motors, there's no doubt. Brother Hobby is not the OEM for the FPV cycle motor. It is frustrating that you can't get the FPV cycle motors in Europe without paying import taxes. 1850 kV. How does that compare to the kV of the FPV cycle? Just because a motor is similar in size doesn't mean it's going to be the same. 1880, they're pretty close in kV. Those are the two things I would start by looking at. I think this is a slightly bigger motor. I don't know, though. I honestly don't know. I'm not sure that you could just slap another similarly sized motor and assume it's going to perform the same as the 5-inch. Bob puts a lot of work into his stuff. Pyrodrone Hyperlight Motors, asks C. Mulder Seattle. I know that a lot of racers, Pyrodrone has Pyrodrone has a prolific racing team. Evan Turner used to race for them before he started 533 and became his own team. Hyperlight Motors, I mean, they've been raced by top racers, and there was a time when they were one of the premium racing motors. I assume that the Hyperlight motors are still just as good, just other racers have gone other directions. I don't think you'd be doing wrong to go with a Hyperlight motor for a budget build. But you never know. Like, you don't know. You got brands out there, DeWalt, Black & Decker, whatever the brand. They used to be, like, amazing, and then they get bought out and the quality goes down. So I don't know for a fact that Hyperlight motors are the same as they were, but they were pretty solid, and perhaps they still are. We got a couple more super chats coming in. Thank you to Martin Wynn for £5. I never knew that YouTube got 30% of super chats. I believe that is true. Never could start this hobby without you. Ciati, people in the Discord, thanks all. And McPatrick, thank you for a $10 super chat. Transitioning from analog to digital, I'm using your JB flight controller. Can I install both Caddx and Crossfire? Use the Caddx for video and switch between transmitters by only binding? No. So, McPatrick, you can connect two different receivers to the same flight controller. However, you can only have one of them be active at a time, and you need to make that change in the ports tab. So you can't have both of them turned on and whichever one's bound works. At least I don't think so. I do know you can enable Serial RX on more than one port. Gosh, could that be true? There's a trick that I've used where if you don't know what UART your receiver is on, you activate Serial RX on all the UARTs, and Betaflight lets you get away with it. Let's just check that. Let's just confirm that. I'm pretty sure, but we'll do some science. Hang on. So if we go to Ports tab, and this is just a throwaway flight controller I just keep on my desk for just such an occasion. We can enable Serial RX on all the UARTs. Underscore FPV says, nope, it just uses the first UART that has it enabled. Damn. So it's not even like it scans all the UARTs and it finds the one that has signal on it. That would be better. So you can enable all of them. They don't all work. I thought that it would just find the one that has the signal on it, but somebody in the chat is saying it just takes the first one. Well, that's stupid. The other problem is, even if that worked, you would also have to change the protocol here. So you can wire them up to two separate UARTs, but to switch between them, you would have to go into Betaflight and change the settings. Lecky says in the Discord, I bought too many Vistas. No such thing these days. Oh, those are Nebula Pro. Are those Nebula Nanos? You're lucky to get your hands on them. You're lucky to get your hands on them. Robin Duckett, yes, you are correct. It is possible to scan the UARTs and find the one with the receiver on it. Betaflight just doesn't do it. What's the longest you've ever had to wait for a back-ordered item from Get FPV to arrive? Been waiting over a month for my Roma 5 HD, says Dan. Dan, in this day and age, waiting a month is not that surprising. Remember that Caddx Vista, a couple months ago, there was an announcement, there was a leak that Vistas there would be a dry spell because they were missing some component that they needed. We're undergoing a global component shortage. I saw a news article that there are cars and trucks coming off the assembly line and just going to sit on a lot because they don't have a component that they need for their computer. And basically they're just building the cars and they're just letting them sit until they can get these components. They can't sell them. Everyone is experiencing this in every industry. So there's been a shortage of Caddx Vistas and DJI Air units, and so that's probably why there's a shortage of Romas. If you order the Diatone Roma F5, bear in mind there is a V2 of that has been released, and you definitely would rather have the V2 than the V1. The V2 has, among other things, it has upgraded arms, which are stronger and don't break as easily. So if you didn't order the V2, I would maybe think about canceling that order and try to get a V2. Yep. But waiting a month, that's completely normal for a back order in this day and age, unfortunately. And to be clear, that's not Get FPV's fault. There is nothing they can do to source them. Ryzik says Eris Hobby website has 46 Nebula Nano. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wouldn't put a Nebula Nano in a build. I would just wait and cross my fingers. Now, I say that as a guy who bought a few Caddx Vistas back before the shortage. So maybe I'm a little, like, if I was trying to do a build and I couldn't fly at all, maybe. But the Nano has worse image quality. It only works in high quality mode. So you can't do low latency mode. It only works in 16:9. The Nebula Nano has so many drawbacks. I would probably pass on it. Shane Steelman says, have you ever got burned pixels in the DJI goggles? No. If you got burned pixels, probably it's sun damage. Most of the time, it's going to be sun damage that does that. Ryzix is going to swap the camera out. Yeah. So if somehow you have spare Caddx cameras, then buying the Nebula Nano and tossing the camera will work fine. The thing is that the Vista VTX itself is very durable. So it's not like there's tons of spare cameras out there. Usually it's the camera that breaks, not the Vista. Doghouse FPV is asking about NTSC and PAL. NTSC and PAL are two video standards. NTSC has a higher frame rate, but a slightly lower resolution. PAL has a slightly higher resolution and a slightly lower frame rate. No. Yes, that's right. That's right. So the question is, why do analog pilots in Europe typically choose PAL and those in North America choose NTSC? I question that assumption, Doghouse. I'm not sure where you're getting that information. I mean, it is true that the broadcast television standard in Europe was PAL, and the broadcast standard in the USA was was? Yeah, nobody broadcasts analog anymore. NTSC. I think that most people just use whatever their camera comes with. When you buy the camera is set to either NTSC or PAL, and the vendor just makes a decision. But it's not like with receivers, where if you're in Europe, you have to use a certain, receiver voltage, a receiver protocol. They just ship the cameras, and the camera is either set to NTSC or PAL, and most people just use what the camera is shipped for. If they have a choice, which do they choose? That's a tougher one. I've heard some people argue that NTSC is better because it has a slightly higher frame rate, and therefore you get smoother image. I've heard some people argue that with standard definition, you want all the resolution you can get, and that they prefer to run PAL. I don't think there's a default best. Andreas Dalsa says, if you fly indoors and you don't match the video frame rate to your AC mains frequency, you'll get flickering. That is true. If you're in the USA and you run on PAL indoors, you'll see lights flickering. If you run at NTSC, it matches the 60 hertz of the electrical system, and you don't see the flicker. Ghost Branch says 99% of people in Europe fly NTSC too. Robin FPV says everyone chooses PAL if they have the choice. See, there's no universal. Everybody thinks they know. Oh, PAL's more popular, but just by a tiny amount, says Mad Max at FPV. How do you know these things? Where are you getting this information? I'm skeptical. Mac Patrick. Oh, we got you, Mac Patrick. You were caught up on Super Chats. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess if you fly indoors, the desire to avoid flickering lights would be the big reason to match. In the USA, the electrical system runs at 60 hertz. In Europe, it runs at 50 hertz. And NTSC and PAL frame rate, no, not by coincidence. It's that match that. And that's certainly a compelling argument there. Timber Bunny says, somebody get Technology Connections. That is a great YouTube channel. Technology Connections is amazing. I don't know. Technology Connections. Here, I'll put up his channel. Technology Connections. You go to his channel, and you think to yourself. Why am I? You're telling me. You're going to post, where is it? Yeah, here we go. You're going to post a 32-minute video about dishwashers. And then you click on it and you're like, oh, this is really interesting. I'm inspired. Everybody says my videos are too long and I talk too much. And maybe they're right. But I'm inspired because this guy posts a 28-minute video about a frickin' humidifier. Okay, to be fair, I didn't finish that one. Okay, fair enough. I also didn't finish the detergent one. Okay, fine. I was engrossed though. I didn't resent it. Why didn't I finish this one? I don't know. I finished this one, 25-minute video about electrical extension cords. Anyway, he's a great channel. It's a great channel. Abraham, it may apply to fluorescent lighting more than tungsten. Yes, fluorescent is the ones that will show the flickering the most. Am I not sub to him? I should sub to him. All right, I get it. Okay. Any suggestions for a 5-inch in the category of up to 500 grams? Fabian Bauer says, my insurance covers quads up to 500 grams. It's easy to find a 5-inch under 500 grams as long as you're not carrying a GoPro. If you are carrying a GoPro, you're going to really struggle. I say that. A race rig, like a race rig would typically be, no, 500 grams is tricky. That's trickier than I thought. Like a good race rig is going to be between 350 and 400 grams dry. And then you're going to put a battery on, and it's going to be approximately 200 grams, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And you're going to come in right around 550, 600 grams. 500 grams is actually tough. I know it can be done. We've got these lightweight, the Recon 5. What's that weigh? Surely that's going to be under 500 grams. Let's see. Weight. No, not the frame. 53 grams. That's not what tell me the all-up weight. Tell me the all-up weight. There you go. 223 grams dry. So this Recon 5-inch is going to easily come in under 500 grams, even with a big, heavy battery. And you can even potentially, I don't know, maybe you could even carry a naked GoPro. So if you want a 5-inch in the 500 grams or less, that's the direction I'd steer you. There's the Recon 5, and that one is designed in accordance with Dave C., if not directly designed by Dave C. I don't know the exact relationship, but Dave C. is a great designer, so probably, I always hesitate a little bit when recommending HDLRC electronics, but the fact that this is designed by Dave C. outweighs that for me. I feel like he's a pretty solid bet. There's also GepRC Baby Croc 5-inch is a new one. I don't know a lot about it. I'm not specifically recommending it. I'm just pointing it out. There's this new class of lightweight 5-inches. iFlight has one. And these guys probably are all going to come in under 500 grams. They're not going to have the durability of like a 600, 650 gram 5-inch, but they'll get her done. So those are the directions I would go. Yeah, 500 grams is many people would not consider 500 grams for a 5-inch to be lightweight. It's lighter. I mean, the next threshold you shoot for is 250 grams, unless you're just trying to build as light a quad as you can, but not for any legal reason. 250 grams, I just have almost no interest in a 250 gram 5-inch. Like this. I met this guy years ago when I went to Germany for a thing. It was actually, I went there for my old job, and while I was there, I did some FPV stuff. And this is he has a 5-inch. And let's see. Where's this? No, I don't want the 4. I want the 5. Where's the 5? Well, anyway. Doesn't he have a 5? I swear he has a 5. Maybe it's not released yet. I hope I'm not spoiling anything. We'll just put his 4-inch up. That's fine. Like, for all the positive things you might say about this frame, like, just look at the arm. Look at the amount of carbon that's there. There's no question that if you're building a sub 250 5-inch, there's no question to me that the durability is not going to be up to my personal standards. Now, if you need to fly sub 250 for legal reasons, oh, okay, maybe this is the best possible choice. But what's going to happen is I'm going to fly it, I'm going to crash it, it's going to break, and I'm going to go, see, this is why sub 250 5-inch is a waste of time. If you need to fly sub 250 for legal reasons, I think you should be flying 3-inch or maybe 4-inch. The other thing is the motor. The motors, you're going to be running like 2004 motors on 5-inch props. Those little shafts are just going to bend and break. I just think you want to be down between, say, 3 and 4-inch if sub 250 is your goal. That's my take. My hot take. I feel a little bit bad about it because, like, this is a well-designed frame with a lot of love and a lot of attention. It deserves success. Maybe the 4-inch version deserves success, but I just don't. Sub 250 5-inch, I'm like, no. What about Tommy's frame? What about the 250 or the Rotor Riot one? I don't know. I would just rather have a 3-inch or a 4-inch. Anyway, that's my take. That's my hot take. I'm slowly moving towards an attitude where I just am disinterested in everything except like one thing that I like. Not really a good take as a reviewer. Yeah. Bardwell hasn't reviewed any products lately. They all suck. I hate them all. That's not a recipe for success as a reviewer, is it? You have to at least review them and then talk about why you don't like them. You can't just be like, I don't like it. I don't want to review it. How can I, I'm going to lose my shill card. I can't shill for products. No, I can't win that fight. I could reject and decline to review 20 products. And then the one time I make a positive review, the shill! That's the one! He's shilling. 4. Oh, well. I need a certificate of shilling. Like an official certificate. Yeah, anyway. Andrew Nelson says, Tommy flew that 250 into a tree like a million times. I am so... what's the right word? I don't care if the manufacturer of the frame released videos showing durability testing. And I'm gonna say this very carefully, because if anybody in the world is gonna be honest and forthright and rigorous in the testing of his product, it's Tommy. If anybody in the world is doing it right, it's him. But I have seen too many cases where the manufacturer shows this video. Oh, we drove over it with a car. We gave it to a wild wolverine. Chewed on it and scratched it with his claws for a month. We did all this testing. It's the best. And then they send it to me and I fly it and I break it. And I'm like, well, and then they're like, oh, wow. Oh, that has never happened. I cannot believe you broke it. Wow, that is so unlucky. That, like, the one we sent to you was the one that broke. Man, you know what? Let us send you another one. I'm sure this one will be better. And I'm like, so when a manufacturer, even if it's esteemed Mr. Tommy Tabahia, who I have the utmost respect for, even if it's him, when a manufacturer says, oh, we did this durability testing, I'm like, yeah, okay, give it to me. Give it to me. I don't believe you. I'm not convinced. Mad Max, you are correct. 250 grams hitting a wall is a very different scenario than 650 grams. You could even say it's more durable to be light. Mad Max, that is true. If you have but the problem is that when you were at a 5-inch prop size, the arms have to be a certain length. That's a fact. In order to get the 5-inch props into your frame, the arm has to be a certain length. And you only have so many grams of carbon to work with. And the arms break. Or the motors. The big places where you save weight on a 250 gram 5-inch are the frame. You just remove carbon from the frame to bring the weight down. And you use much smaller, lighter motors. Typically, the motors will have a 2mm shaft. And the leverage, and they'll have teensy-weensy little bearings. And the leverage of a 5-inch prop, when you smack something, it bends the shaft, it breaks the motors, or it breaks the arms. Those are the places where that happens. So yes, you can have a durable 250 gram quad, but it's not going to be a 5-inch. In my humble opinion. Coelho FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat. Just emailed you a Blackbox log. Sorry for the big file size. A weird one for sure. Please evaluate the Blackbox and give me your thoughts. Oh, man. Oh, that's going to be some stimulating live stream content. But for a $10 super chat, I kind of feel obligated. Let's take a look. What's a lightweight 3-inch frame that can fit a Vista? What's a 3-inch frame that can fit a Vista? I mean, just about any of them can fit a Vista, right? What's a good one? Maybe the Apex Mini. I know Ciotti flies the Apex Mini, but he doesn't fly DJI. So whatever you say, Mad Max. I mean, I've flown lightweight 5-inches, and I'm just speaking from experience. They all break. They all just break. Bloods FPV says the Halo RC Odin. Oh, Bloods FPV always there to plug Halo RC. A lightweight 3-inch frame that can carry a Vista. Halo RC Odin. Oh, I see. Yeah, of course. I wasn't thinking in the direction of toothpicks. Of course. Yeah, we're going to go toothpick direction, not like freestyle direction. Great point. Long Win, thank you for your $2 super chat. Halo RC Odin, this is the direction, and is this a naked? This is a naked Vista, isn't it? This is the direction I would steer you toward in the Vista pick direction. There is the guitar pick frame. I obviously searching for guitar pick isn't going to turn much up. The guitar pick frame. I am not going to be able to find this. Who makes the guitar pick? How about quadcopter? Oh, that's also Halo RC. Beautiful. Halo RC guitar pick. Oh, I see. That's the analog one. I understand. The Odin is the Vista one. Gotcha. And of course, there's the FPV Cycle toothpick. People put Vistas on a toothpick. TP3 as well. Yeah, can it be done? That's a 25mm mounting. I'm not sure about that. Probably with enough 3D printing, you could figure it out. Avant Quads, great choice. Avant Quads make some good 3-inch frames. Now, what I like about the Avant Quads is that they go a little bit more of a traditional direction with the frame layout. So it's not going to fly a little bit more like a traditional quad than compared to a toothpick with the X configuration. And you basically got, is that 20? I hope that's 20mm mounting, right? Yeah, 20mm mounting. So basically you're just going to have a stack with a Vista and a flight controller and ESC. The best way to build one of these, honestly, would be with a toothpick flight controller and then the Vista on top. But the Vista is 20mm. I really like the way that Catalyst Machine Works does it. Now, the massive droner is not lightweight, but I really like the way that they've done their design. It's very, very clever. What Catalyst does is they have the flight controller in the ESC mounted. There we go. They have the flight. Can I make this picture bigger? No. They have the flight controller in the. Oh, this is the analog version. Shut up. They mount the flight controller in the ESC on the bottom, and the Vista is mounted on the top. It's pretty clever. So, BQE Ripsqueak. Acrobat, again, not lightweight. Acrobat's certainly not lightweight. If you're going lightweight, I would go toothpick style. They can fly pretty well. Oh, wow. Just going to my email to get this Blackbox log from Coelho FPV. I've just gotten delivery. Oh, let's look at this together. I've just gotten delivery of a movie poster. This is a proposed. This isn't final. Shut up. Go away. No. Oh my God. This is a movie poster for the Flow State film. This is not final. But I just got this in my inbox. Let's take a look at it together. Oh. Let's see. Oh, well, they're going to have to change the drone. They put it like a Phantom style drone in there. What do you guys think of this poster? Huh. Huh. Interesting. It's kind of dark. That's the only thing. Like, if you were scrolling on Netflix, would this grab your eye? I don't know. Yeah. We gave him the concept. The concept we gave him. I feel like, yeah, it is a Fiverr design. This guy's other stuff was really good. Like, this guy's other stuff was really good. Hang on. Where's this or look at this guy's other stuff though. Like, these are good posters. Maybe we should have not given him a concept. Let him run with it a little more. These are good posters, right? Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to work on this a little bit more. Anyway, Ghost Branch, do you do movie posters? I know you do graphic design. Movie posters are kind of their own thing. If you want to take a stab at it, man, more power to you. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty dark. The concept we gave him was a little bit like that. I was hoping he would take more initiative, and make it look more like a proper movie poster. Anyway. Yeah, that was Mr. Steele. Due to a flood. I got a message from the other guy working on it just now saying that it's being delayed because there's been a flood. Okay. Sucks to be you. I mean, oh wait, no, that sounds very unsympathetic. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, of course, if you had a flood, then it's okay if you deliver your movie poster project a little bit later. It's not going to be a big deal. Let's take a look at this Blackbox from Coelho. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Lumineer H7 flight controller. That's the new flight controller from Lumineer. T-Motor F55. T-Motor F90. That's a big-ass motor. Oh, 7-inch. Source 1.3, 7-inch. HQ 7040 props. Are those good 7? Are those good 7-inch props? I've heard people say that they may not be. Filters are cranked up because of weird noise issues. I bought 2 Lumineer H743s. Had to return one of them because the gyro noise was so bad the quad wouldn't fly. Uh-huh. I was just cruising along and the quad just shut down. It rolled upside down and impacted with the props not turning. No damage to the quad. After a power cycle, it flew again. The weird event occurs at 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Let's go over here. So the first thing I want to do is go to look at the gyro noise. The Luminaire Lux F7, the flight controller before the H7, had some gyro issues. That seems to be a problem with the design of the flight controller. Not sorry to hear that happened to Coelho on this one. I hope it is not indicative of big problems. If we take a look here, though, the raw noise looks fine. We've got the motor harmonic right here, and no other big spikes of noise, so that's good. Gyro scaled pitch, nothing major. I think this may be a short flight because it actually doesn't look like we have a lot of noise at all. Let me scale this up a little bit and see what jumps out. So there are some, I feel like this is, yeah, some horizontal spikes, which means wideband noise at that throttle position. But my gut feeling is that just means you spent more time at that throttle position and it's not indicative of much. Vertical stripes would be frame resonance. We're not seeing a lot of that. So the noise doesn't look bad. And bear in mind, we are looking right now at the raw gyro. So the filters are not affecting this at all. This is the new H7 MK. So this doesn't look like a flight controller that's having gyro noise issues to me. This one looks okay. Let's turn that off. And we say it happened at 3:30. The event happened at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Three minutes and 30 seconds. He said it just shut down. Oh, boom, there we go. Now, what happened? Cruising along and the quad just shut down, rolled upside down, and impacted with the props not turning. So, the quad shut down. Now, I see you still entering stick inputs. Like, let's just look at, we got kind of a cluttered screen here. Let's take a look at the motors only for now. So right here, something clearly went very wrong. Two motors just, what? Did you make a sudden stick movement here? Your sticks go way left. Maybe that's Did you have a lockout here? Did the motors lock out? Oh, interesting. Right here. Oh, interesting. What the F? Okay, I'm getting there. So this is just normal motor movement, right? The motors are doing their things. They're flying. The quad is flying. And then all of a sudden, right here, the motors freeze up. Now, you might ask, is this a, did the logging just stop? No. If the logging had stopped, we would see a blank line here. There would be a space. There would be no line. Crunked is correct that the flight controller did not shut down and the flight controller did not disarm. So if the flight controller shut down, then the log would stop. If the flight controller disarmed, then the log would stop. If the ESC rebooted, or if a motor stopped making thrust, we would see the motor trace. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, let's get my face cam in here so you can see my. I'm getting all worked up. I wouldn't want you to miss my expressions. If the ESC shut down, if a prop broke, or if a motor lost thrust, we would see this immediately go to 100%. One of the motors would go to 100%. Ghost Branch questions whether there was too much load on the CPU. Ghost Branch, my understanding of how Betaflight works is that when there's excess of CPU load, non-essential tasks get skipped. They get skipped. And that would mean that we would see a break in the log. This is very weird. Ryzik suggests a control link issue. The thing is, the PID controller stopped. We're looking at the motor output here. The PID controller stopped updating the motor outputs. This can't be caused by an RC control link issue. Can't be. And if we look at, where's RC command? Where it is. If we look at RC command, we see RC command also froze up. Did everything freeze up? Let's look at set point. Hey, give me, there we go. Set point. Everything froze up. Let's look at something like VBAT. No, don't do that. Remove all graphs, add graph, custom graph. Let's just look at as do we have where's VBAT? Battery voltage. Oh. Yeah, so this is really screwy. Look, battery voltage. Now it's going up. Is it staying the same? 3.7. Battery voltage was being updated, but it just, this is, wow. So the flight controller did not freeze up because look at what battery voltage is doing. The motor stopped being updated and battery voltage slowly trickles up. It's a suspiciously straight line, but Crunk says it's like the data froze. The data didn't freeze though, because at the beginning, battery voltage is reading 3.61 volts, and at the end, it's reading 3.77 volts. So the logging was working. And battery voltage that it slowly drifted upwards when the motors were frozen is completely plausible. What about gyros? What did gyros do? Gyros froze. That can't be right. That cannot be right. That can't be right. Oh, Timber Bunny says it's like it's a line connecting 2 points with no real data between them. That's a good point. That's a good point. Battery voltage can't have been just a straight line. So this flight controller is whack. Yeah, that's the takeaway, Crunked. I agree. What we're seeing here is completely incredible. The flight controller continued to log data. I think that I don't think this data that's being logged is valid. Why would the flight controller continue to log data for, how long was it? How long was it? Continue to, oh no, we should just mark. I should just mark. I shouldn't, how do I clear those? I can't remember. How do you clear them? How do you clear them? Right clicking, not working. Shoot. Okay, just mark. M. Oh, right. Is there a, just go in at the beginning, out at the end. Is there an easy way to just clear the in and out? We just do M for mark, and then we show it was only, oh gosh, that's not that long. It was only 4 milliseconds. It was only 4, was it 0.04 milliseconds or 4 milliseconds? I think it was 4 milliseconds. There was this breakup where it recorded the same data. It's very weird that the data would freeze up and continue to be recorded like that, though. Very weird. It feels to me like this has to be a flight controller thing, though. If the ESC had shut down, the flight controller would continue to log normal data. The quad would be falling out of the air. But the fact that the logging lines froze up, it has to be a flight controller thing. And then at the end of the log, yeah, what's at the end of the log? Nothing, just, this is just probably after he crashed. Just nothing. I think this is a flight, I would replace the flight controller. I don't know what could cause this. It's either a Betaflight bug or a flight controller issue, but I think this really points to the flight controller. Now, I don't think it was 4 seconds. It was 0.04, and then it said milliseconds. Is it 4 seconds? Is that 4 whole seconds? Am I reading that wrong? Is that 4? Oh, I'm sorry. That's even worse. I read that wrong. I apologize. It is 4.022. This is always, it's not 4.022 milliseconds, is it? It's 4 seconds. Look at the time. 3:26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, it's 4 seconds. I apologize. That's 4 seconds. Is temperature being logged? Let's find out. I'm not sure about that. No. I don't see temperature being logged. Maybe it's a debug. This is pretty weird, but I feel like it has to be the flight controller. That's the takeaway. This is weird behavior from the flight controller. UAV Tech agrees that flight controllers can lock up weird if overheating. It's just so weird to me that it would lock up but keep logging. So I don't know. We're going to move on. No, Ghost Branch, I don't agree. I don't think that's how Blackbox works. In Blackbox, if there are missing data points, then you see missing lines. Blackbox, the logging, the timestamp of the data point is logged, and if there's missing data points, you do not get extrapolated lines like this. I mean, we've all seen Blackbox logs with missing data points. Did you see core temp in the logging? I don't think so. Was it there and I missed it? Core temp. No, I don't see it. I don't see core temp. Yeah. All right, we're moving on. I think this is a flight controller issue. That's how I read it. Okay, let's move on. Thank you for that, Coelho. That was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. No offense. Durzo FPV, thank you for a $10 super chat. Is the next FPV crate still a JB edition? No. Is it safe to assume there is another part or something worth continuing the sub? Durzo, obviously the next crate will have something in it. It'll be, the crates always contain the same general category of stuff. There's one sort of premium item. There is a tool. There's a t-shirt. There's some stickers. There's usually some props. I'm not associated with the next FPV crate, so I couldn't say whether you should or shouldn't continue your sub. That's a decision you have to make for yourself. Peter, thanks for a 10 Canadian dollars. Your videos have been invaluable to me. Any recommended settings or modes for smooth DJI-like flight for taking pictures? Betaflight 4.2 has a cinematic preset. It's on the wiki. And you can try it out, but really, not the community presets. This is the one I actually wanted. Really, if you want photos, FPV drone isn't really the best thing for it. Lower your rates and try using this cinematic preset here. That's what I would say. Okay. TJ Richardson, thank you for a $5 super chat. Can't stay because you helped me fix my quad, I think, and now I'm going out to fly. Fantastic. Yannick, CHF, thank you for 5 CHF Swiss francs. Ghost versus Tracer. In your last roundup, you suggested Tracer. Did I? Are you sure about that? I think you misread my last roundup. If you think I was suggesting Tracer as the best, I think that's I don't know what, I think you're talking about my Control Link roundup. I really went out of my way in the Control Link roundup to try and represent the pros and cons of the different links without being biased towards or against one or the other. I definitely don't think I was leaning towards Tracer. I think you must have been leaning towards Tracer. So when I talked about Tracer, you were like, oh, clearly this is the best. And you assumed maybe that I was going the same direction. I did talk about Ghost versus Tracer back at the beginning of the stream, so I don't want to rehash that. But thank you for your $5 super chat. And the takeaway is that I'm playing with Ghost right now because of its flexibility. Thank you, Ideal FPV, for a $5 super chat. Durzo FPV, going back to your question about FPV Crate, what I would suggest you do is go on YouTube and just search for, let's do it together. Go on YouTube and search for FPV Crate unboxing and go look at what's been in previous months. Okay? Just go look at what's been in previous months and see if that's the kind of thing you would be happy to be paying for going forward, and then decide whether you want to keep your subscription going. Yep, that's what I would do. If Ghost and Tracer are both 2.4 gigahertz, are their antennas interchangeable without any issues? License to drive, Immersion RC, Tony Cake has said that you can use Tracer antennas on Ghost. He has said you can use FreeSky antennas on Ghost if you want, although those FreeSky antennas may not perform as well as the QT antenna or the Tracer antenna. They're a different design. Presumably, you can also use Ghost antennas on Tracer, although Cross TBS has not specifically made a statement to that effect. Chris Rosser did a video about props in or out. Somebody's asking about that. Chris Rosser is an aerospace engineer who is applying aerospace engineer principles to quadcopters, and it is fantastic to have him in the discussion. Because, like, this is just a body of knowledge that has been missing from FPV for a lot, which is not to take anything away from people who have, done some of this work before, but at the same time, it really feels like that the type of analysis, certainly if there were people doing this kind of stuff, they weren't publishing videos about it. And that's the thing. You need someone who not only has the knowledge, but is able to communicate the knowledge. And he's doing a great job of it. He has made some arguments about the benefits of props in versus props out rotation. One of the arguments is that with props out rotation, that props out rotation makes the front motors work harder. And it turns out that, and you can see this in Blackbox logs, that the rear motors work harder in forward flight because they're getting turbulent air from the front motors. And so they have to spin faster to make the same amount of thrust. Therefore, he says props out rotation helps to equalize the work that the motors have to do in forward flight. 100% true. Another argument he makes, and you should just watch his video. Another argument that he makes is that props out gets rid of some of the turbulence means that the advancing edge of the prop is in clean air. That second argument, and then there's a third argument that has to do with, there's a third argument that has to do with whether you're throwing grass onto your camera versus into your stack. The argument about the advancing edge being in clean air, I think that's absolutely true, but I think it's most relevant. I think most of these things are most relevant on smaller quads. There's definitely an advantage to running props out on like a tiny whoop, a 65 millimeter tiny whoop, or even up to say a 3-inch. I think that by the time you get to a 5-inch, the difference is not as clear cut and other things start to dominate. Like I still run props in. I've tested props in versus props out before, and at least in my tests, I didn't see a giant difference on 5-inch quads. And so I was just like, well, fine, I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done. But one of the arguments I make about props in is that when are you most likely to throw grass on your lens? When you're turtle moding. And when you turtle mode, your props go the opposite direction. So if you are props in during normal flight, it is true that if you like fly through some grass, you'll get grass on your lens. But the place where you're most likely to throw grass is when you crashed and you turtle mode to get back in the air. And so that is an argument in favor of props in. It means that when you turtle mode to get back in the air, you don't throw grass all over your lens. It's a little bit of a BS argument because no matter what you do, at some point, no matter what your prop direction is, at some point you're going to throw grass on your lens. And at some point, you're going to throw grass into your stack. Your quad's just going to get covered with grass. That's a fact. But the main reason I haven't switched is that just I've always done props in. I've tested props in versus props out, and at least on 5-inch rigs, I didn't see a big difference. It's 100% true that you have more authority in forward flight because props out equalizes the motors a little more. But the question is any motor at max authority anyway? I don't know. Let's take a look. If you're never hitting 100% on any motor anyway, then that additional authority is irrelevant. So, like, let's look. This is a little bit risky because I may prove myself wrong, but, I mean, facts is facts. That's all that really matters. Where's my... Oh, flip. I don't think I have... Oh, flip. No. Oh, well. I don't think I have those Blackbox logs anymore. I was going to look at a Blackbox log. Well, let's look at this Blackbox log. Thank you, JJ Boyd, for a $20 super chat. If we look at the motors in this Blackbox log... Well, here's something screws going on. We got front flips. But during normal flight, all right, we're doing some bangy moves. During normal flight, do the motors go to 100%? Here we're doing bangy moves again. That's not what we're talking about. Just during normal flight, maybe during some turns. We would really want to look at a racer doing sharp turns. The sharper the turn, the higher the throttle, the higher the motors are going to be, and the more relevant this is likely to be. To me, that's the most compelling argument in favor of props out. But someone's noticed, MPFPV noticed hate comments in the Discord in my folder. Yeah, maybe someday I'll make a JB reads hate comments video. I'd save the hate comments to every so often if I think they're entertaining. Do you want to look at some of them? JB is boring and too negative in every video and talks too much. That loses his point of the topic. I'm boring and too negative. Also, I'm a shill. So, you can't win. The moment companies say, okay, y'all can post, literally every single FPV person who has a following drops the same video at the same time. Yes, you have correctly described the entire point of a release date embargo. You got it. That's how an embargo works. That guy needs to get laid, says this one. Oh, that's your thought, Ray Josephs. How incompetent must a YouTuber be to crash a drone within 24 hours? This is talking about the DJI FPV drone. Hey, genius, it is not meant for racing. Let me block you in a second and warn people never to listen to your biased BS. Send me a product. How incompetent must I be in order to crash a drone within 24 hours? I didn't crash it within 24 hours. I had it for several weeks. Thank you. It's not meant for racing. I wasn't racing. I was doing freestyle. And it was a really mild crash. And what kind of a reviewer would I be if I didn't crash test a quadcopter? I mean, if it was a DJI Mavic, maybe. Okay, it's not meant for crashing. Yeah. Props out. The big advantage of props out is bouncing off obstacles. Oh, yeah, we didn't touch that one. Yeah, that is the big advantage. This is so not the ultimate JB freestyle build. I call BS. No digital, no Immortal T, no 50 amp ESC, no iFlight Titan DC5, no JBF7. What? A pre-built Rotorite HD1 has more to offer, and this is your perfect quad? Sorry, JB, not buying it. What video was this even replying to? I can't. I got to find this comment somewhere and remind myself what I did. This must have been before I released the perfect freestyle. Let's see. No digital? Let's see if I can find this comment. It was on the... Oh, ha! Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, why didn't I snip that? That's kind of relevant. This is on my old JB's Perfect Freestyle Quadcopter build video from 2019, 2018. And this dude is like, this is not JB's ultimate freestyle build. Yeah, you're commenting on a video. You're commenting on a video that's like 3 years old. These products did not exist that you're complaining about. Yeah, that's why I saved this one. I have 5-inch quads that would fly circles around this thing. Okay, first of all, probably not. It's still a pretty damn good build. But you're mad. You're responding to a 3-year-old video. Calm down. Jesus, son, playing with toys? Just like my little brother. I'm done. Unsubscribed. Oh, okay. Are you mad that I'm playing with 4 inches? You don't like 4 inches? Okay, bye. By the way, if you unsubscribe, there's no need to tell me. Just unsubscribe. You don't need to leave a comment. This is my favorite. This dude sounds like he would be annoying as F in real life. Yes. Yep. I probably am. Let's see. Oh, I love this. I love this one. This is the best too. Look, I'm going to be effing honest. This is all a load of effing BS. How effing difficult is this effing garbage? Why can't it be like an effing iPhone or effing any effing other thing? Just plug it in and have an effing light turns on. The F on, effing on, not this effing bullshit, effing amps, effing voltage, effing this effing channel. And this is how a lot of people feel getting into FPV. I so feel for this guy's comment. Oh. I don't know. I don't know why I saved that one. What is... If the admin has changed, I will buy you an air module. I'm not sure why I saved that one. Why are we seeing your face for most of the video? Show people the topic. This channel is because self-admiring channel of Joshua Bardwell. Probably your most disappointing and pointless video to date. Are you running out of interesting material? Oh, how is this man so impossibly sexy? I do not understand. Oh, that's not hate, that's love. Oh, I love this one. Oh. Oh, time-wasting garbage can. It's a channel for single, lonely guys looking for company. No one with a family or life of any sort has 30 minutes to find out something that conveyed in 120 seconds. I hate you so much. All right, that's the end. I hate you so much. Oh, man. Oh. Durzo FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. I have that perfect build of yours. It's heavy, but the control and handling on it is amazing. Floppy Prop suggests I put Emu Flight on all my Ghost builds because it has the Ghost protocol. Maybe so. Does Betaflight run motors at 100%? Does it not leave anything on reserve for the PID loop to stabilize? No, it doesn't need to do that, MK. MK, you don't need to leave a reserve at the top of the motors to stabilize. If you think about it, if you have one motor at 100% and you still need to go further in that direction, you just bring the other motors down, right? You just bring the other motors down and the quad rotates that direction. It's the balance of the two motors. So the most extreme is when one motor's at 0 and one motor's at 100%, then you can't go any further. But no, it doesn't need to save anything for stabilization. What you'll see happening, like if you do a full throttle punch out, all the motors will scale up, one motor will hit 100%, and then the other motors will go up and down, keeping the quad balanced, right? The motor that makes the least amount of thrust will go to 100%. Guillermo Nespolo, thank you for a $2 super chat. Guillermo was disappointed that he was not in my hate comments, and well, he says he'll have to try to troll harder. Troll in the super chats, I won't mind. Thank you, Noisy Boys Garage, for the kind comment. Do you think a 45 amp ESC is enough for a chill freestyle quad? Asks Ulysses H. Yeah, I mean, realistically, the amp rating, you're probably not going to pull more. I mean, a 40 amp ESC is 160 amps total on a quadcopter. Few batteries that would be used on like a 5-inch quad are going to pull more than that. It's just about headroom. You probably don't exceed 80 or 100 amps very often. So should you just use a 25 amp ESC? Well, nobody makes those anymore. It's just about headroom. A 45 amp ESC, what the manufacturer is signaling to you is that it's designed to carry less current and be a little less durable than like a 50 or 60 or 70 amp ESC. I feel really confident that if you were to take a 70 amp ESC, like the new Diatone Race ESC is supposed to be rated for 70 amps, I feel really confident that if you were to actually push 4 times 70 amps through it continuously, it would melt. 4 times 7, 28, 280 amps. Go look at something in the world that's actually rated for 300 amps, and you'll see that that little ESC is not going to, I mean, it's like, prove me wrong, and I'll take it back. It's not going to carry 280 amps, 70 amps times 4 for very long without self-destructing. So the amp ratings are kind of like indicator of how tough the ESC is, but they're not, I don't think they're meant to be taken completely literally. I don't believe that like a 70 amp rated ESC, 4-in-1 ESC, actually is rated for 70 amps. If we're talking about like an APC, like an X-Class ESC, that's different. Those things actually pull 70, 80 amps per motor. Those ESCs actually have to take it. When a 5-inch 4-in-1 ESC says it's 70 amps, they know that a 5-inch quad isn't going to ever really pull 70 amps for very long. Or ever. So, the battery can't do it. That's right, the battery's a limiting factor. So a 45 amp ESC is probably fine. Lyle Budd, thank you for a $20 super chat. Self-deprecation, appreciation prize. Hey, got $20 for reading hate comments about myself. Ben T, thanks for a $10 super chat. To the JB haters, just go to your own channels. Problem solved. Some of my haters do have their own channels. And then they have their own haters. If you're on the internet, you're going to have haters. I said to I had this thought the other day, which is that no matter who you are, not just people who have public personas, like YouTube channels and so forth, no matter who you are, somewhere out there, someone hates your guts and thinks you are a jerk. Right? That's just a fact. Mr. Rogers is the only... No. I was going to say Mr. Rogers is the only person on Earth who's ever lived who everybody loved. And yet, no, that's not true. Somewhere out there is like, Mr. Rogers, F that guy. What a a-hole. Right? Someone out there thinks you're a jerk. The thing about the internet is that it means that you see, normally the person who thinks you're a jerk just, they just never talk to you and they pretend you don't exist. And they're like, F that guy, I'm not hanging around with him. But the problem with the internet is that the people who think you're a jerk, they pay attention to you. Especially if you start a YouTube channel or something, if you have some kind of a public persona. So here's what I have to say. If you have a YouTube channel, at a certain point in your popularity, suddenly you'll get haters. It doesn't mean anything about you. It just means that the people who just don't like you can't ignore you anymore. It's really a good thing. It's a good thing. Because it means you've gotten big enough that they have to notice you. That's how I would take it. Miguel T, thank you for a $20 super chat. I just upgraded my HX115 with 1105 6000 kV. Props off, start the quad, then randomly 1 or 2 motors to go to 100% and won't stop even when disarming. Oh, I was about to say that's normal for motors to spin up with props off, but then you just disarm. If the motors don't stop even when disarming, that's a serious problem. So first of all, don't put the props on. When you say the motors go 100% throttle, I'm going to guess they just immediately go 100% throttle. I don't think this could possibly be an motor problem. This has to be an ESC problem. It can't even be a flight controller problem because the flight controller has to be sending the disarm signal. It's hard to imagine what would make this happen, though. You only change the motors. Boy. This has to be an ESC problem. Anytime the motor stops... So, what I would do is change your motor... Did you change the motor protocol? Like, if the motor protocol was not being read correctly, it could cause the motors to go to 100% and stay there. But I'm reading it, Miguel, like the only thing you did was change the motors. And it doesn't make sense. Timber Bunny suggests stray solder. Yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty weird. I mean, if it were me, check the motor protocol, but presumably it was working. Motor direction and beta flight reverse. No. Could the ESC? No. Could you have set the... Ooh. Did you set the ESC to 3D mode? No, that wouldn't... I don't know. I can't imagine what would cause that. The motors just go to 100% and not stop, even when disarming. Like, you didn't say the motors start spinning as soon as you plug in. That's the other thing. So presumably the motor output is correct. Yeah. That's a tough one. I have to dig into that a little more. Rysix in the Discord says, at times I feel like you think I'm a moron, but that's why I'm a patron to begin with. So first of all, let me just say, I don't think you're a moron, for the record. I try not to make any assumptions when someone brings me a question. I try not to make any assumptions about what they do or don't know or what they have or haven't done. So if you come to me and you say, hey, my motor won't spin, I'm going to start with the very, very basics. And at least in the beginning, I'm going to start with the very basics because I'm trying not to waste our time. If I skip step 1 and go to step 2, because I assume you did step 1, we could spend 20 minutes troubleshooting this and then find out, whoops, we didn't check step 1. So because I talk to so many people and I don't know where everybody's coming from and what skill level they're at. And even people who are very skilled and knowledgeable still make mistakes and overlook things. I approach every problem from a sort of a greenfield perspective where I try to make no assumptions about what you have or haven't done and what you have or haven't know, what you do or don't know. And then sometimes that comes off like I think you're dumb. But no, that's just a rigorous troubleshooting perspective. So. Anyway. Bad for Life is asking if Miguel tried it with D-Shot turned off. That ESC should support D-Shot. Oh, are you using bidirectional D-Shot? Did you turn bidirectional D-Shot on? I think the HX115 doesn't work with bidirectional D-Shot, and maybe that's confused the ESC. I think you must have done something other than just swap the motors. Turn bidirectional D-Shot off. Try that. Madstech's in the chat. Madstech seems like one of the just least controversial YouTubers I could imagine. He seems like he's very sort of just like a nice, humble guy. His English accent certainly helps, at least from my perspective, helps him come off as just like a nice guy. Seems super helpful, doesn't seem really dramatastic or anything. Have you gotten any haters yet, Madstech? Are there people in your comments like, you know, leave it. If Madstech has haters, then there's no hope for the rest of us. So. He said he turned bidirectional on, says Skadoosh. There you go. Okay, turn bidirectional off. There you go. Turn it off. Oh my God, Madstech. BB Junkie. I mean, I didn't say that the Welsh accent. I didn't say anything about Welsh accent. Just saying that that English accent just. It's not one of the sort of posh, stuck-up English accents. That's not how I read it. Anyway. Let's see here. Let's get a couple more questions in before we finish up. It is 12:50. It's 10 minutes to the end of the stream. Madstech is a Welsh accent. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I really have. Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. Ow. Okay. Pack it up, guys. I'm really sorry. That's, Welsh is, yeah. I don't know. I can only apologize. That's all I can do. No, I appreciate that that was a faux pas. I apologize. I also apologize. I'm going to guess you guys can hear my stomach grumbling. I grabbed a cup of coffee this morning and then just came and did the live stream. Probably should have had some breakfast. So I apologize. There's a different kind of ASMR. Yeah, my bad. I guess somewhere in my brain I just lump the Welsh accent as an English dialect, which of course is incredibly offensive to the Welsh. So I'm gonna just back away from that slowly, and try to remember that Madstech is Welsh. My only exposure to the Welsh accent has been my son watching Fireman Sam, but apparently that wasn't enough. Apparently that wasn't enough. All right. Sorry about that. JT Knives, what's your advice for someone getting into digital with DJI goggles? I'm wanting to keep analog for my Tiny Hawk 2, but I would like upgraded digital antennas. Yeah, just use the BDI Digidapter. That's a good choice there. Miguel T says, I turned the ESC off and it no longer does that. You turn bidirectional off. Okay, great. How do you like your steak temp? Medium rare. About 135 is where I shoot for. Is my Mustang automatic or manual? It's the 10 speed because my wife said that she doesn't drive stick, and she said, look, if we're going to buy a new car, I should at least be able to drive it in an emergency. And I was like, fine. I would get a manual. Best value, whiskey or bourbon? Best value. I like Knob Creek. I don't know if it's the best value. Some people I know like Bullet. It's fairly inexpensive and not too bad. I don't know about value though. Oh. Man, I'm sorry, Wales. I really try to keep that stuff straight. I mean, at least I was complimentary. I mean, if you're going to misattribute the Welsh accent, the least you could say is, at least it's not one of those stuck-up English accents. It's nice and friendly and welcoming. I mean, it's not an English accent, but at least I was complimentary. Oh, Siadi's here as well. Siadi is here. He's going to be streaming in about 7 minutes. Siadi can go ahead and start posting the link to the stream. Is the Happy Model Crux 3 a good choice for outdoor flying? Is it? Let's see what the chat says. Siadi, Bob Rugi sent me some of his. He sent me the last set of his 5-inch motors, the new ones, the Imperials. He sent me the last set of them to use on my Perfect Freestyle build, but they're not commercial samples and they've got markings on them, and I didn't think they looked good, so I didn't use them because I wanted it to look nice. I used the Emeralds, and he said, "Can you test these out for me and see if they desync? See if I've had good results with them, but I want a second opinion." And then he was like, have you had a chance to test them? I'm like, I haven't even put them on a quad yet. And he was like, I really would like some feedback. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm best at, is doing things quickly. And then he was like, well, can you send them to I was like, I can send them to somebody else if you want. I said, how about Siadi? Has he reached out to you about this, Siadi? So basically, I have to either build a quad with those motors ASAP, or I have to send you the motors, Siadi. Which do you think is going to happen? I don't know. The alternative is I have to wait 2 months to get more of the motors. I don't know. I'm either going to build the quad tonight, because it's Sunday, so the mail doesn't go out. I'm either going to build the quad tonight and keep them, or I'm going to send them to you tomorrow. It's a coin toss. All right, I'm going to end the stream. My stomach is grumbling like crazy, and it's driving me crazy. I don't even know if the mic's picking it up, but it's going nuts. I don't know. I really should have had something to eat before the stream. This is very here. Hang on. Let me just make it, to go for the trifecta. There we go. All right. I got a slurp, I got a burp, and I got my stomach grumbling. I'm going to end the stream. Siati can start early. I can't just sit here and keep doing this. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Have a good, well, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's driving me crazy. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Have a great stream, Siati. And we'll see you later. There's Siati posting the link. Bye, everybody.